Hey everybody, Brad and Terry here, and we are excited that you've joined us for another episode of
What
What
now?
Now? What Now gives Terry and I an opportunity to talk about this last week's message. And last week was the opening of our new Faith at Home Center, and so that's why we decided to hang out here. And we're filling out our My Plan card. Now, if you were here this last Sunday, you got it, and if you weren't, you can go to our website crossroadsforchrist.com and click on the Faith at Home tab at the top of the page and scroll down a little ways, and you'll see a link for the My Plan card, and you can open it up and download it and print a copy off for yourself. Otherwise, you can come here and pick up a packet with the My Plan card inside of it.
Yeah, very cool. And one of the things that I think is really neat about this is, you know how like when you're making goals or trying to set up where you want to go and what you want to do in life and your business or whatever it might be, you got to kind of take a temperature of where you're at, kind of assess. So
Yep.
this is kind of a good assessment. And it's divided up into three different sections. One is for marriage, and one is for when you have kids or grandkids at home or you're involved in their lives, or if you're single. So it's lots of different seasons or places that people are at in their lives. So it covers everybody. I love that.
So, what would it be like, Terry, if we took a moment and talked through how we rated ourselves on one of these areas? Do you think
Yeah,
that'd be kind of cool?
sure.
Yeah, so we're going to do that. We're going to focus on the marriage one, and there's the my marriage part, and there's three questions there, and that you respond by rating yourself on a scale of 1 to 5. And so we're going to do that.
And five is where you're very intentional. So
Yep. So here's question number one. How intentional have I been to build a lifelong, thriving marriage? How'd you respond, Terry?
Um, right now I said about a four
Yep.
because five is kind of perfect. You have nowhere to go.
Yep.
So there's always room for improvement.
Yeah, I said 4 too. We are pretty intentional at this stage in our life on our marriage, and that's a really good thing. Second question. I am confident that my marriage will last until one of us dies.
That's a natural death, right?
So I rated myself a 5 on that. I know that's the perfect thing, but I'm pretty confident we're gonna make it until one of us dies.
Don't worry. I did a five too. It's all
Nice.
good.
We're
Natural.
good.
Yeah.
We're good. The third question is I believe my marriage is, for the most part, God honoring.
Yeah, I said a four there as
Yep.
well. Because again, you can always get better, and there's times when it's not.
Yeah, and I did a 4 too. I think again we're pretty intentional on that, but we've got some work to do.
Mhm.
Hey, here's a crazy idea. I mean, we've shared with you before about the rough stretch in our life. We call it the St. Cloud years when we lived in St. Cloud and planted a church. That was like 15 years ago. So, what would it be like if we were filling out this My Plan card 15 years ago? So, let's do those three questions only 15 years ago. Here we go. The first question. How intentional have I been to build a lifelong, thriving marriage? My answer would have been about 1 or 2.
Yeah, that might even be a little generous.
Wow.
Just saying. Just
Yeah,
saying.
we
Yeah.
we were very intentional on planting a church and other things, but we weren't very intentional about our own marriage.
Yeah, and then at that point, we kind of let the enemy just kind of come in and just kind of beat us down. And you know how when you get really tired, when you just sit and go, I got nothing.
Yep. Question number 2. I am confident that my marriage will last until one of us dies.
Yeah,
Um,
that natural death thing that might have been out the window. I don't know.
right?
That was optional.
Yeah, that was a 1 or 2 at that time too.
Mhm.
The third one, I believe my marriage is, for the most part, God honoring.
That was a negative numbers might come into this. Well, we were being God honoring in other things, and we were not focused on our marriage.
Yep.
Those were low numbers. I mean, in fact, as you can see, all of our numbers were very low. And maybe some of you going through this would have very low numbers right now. And we just want you to know, first of all, that we get it, and we understand, understand.
Yep.
And we also understand that there can be hope when you've got low numbers.
Yeah. And so if you haven't had a chance to fill out the My Plan card, encourage you to take some time to do that. Share it with your spouse or family member, and just see this as a tool to help you take the next step in your marriage. And one of the things for us was we had to do one thing back 10, 12, 15 years ago to begin to improve our marriage. And there was a lot of things that need to be changed, but we had to do just one thing, so we had success.
To have a win.
Yeah, we had to have success. And the 20 things that needed to be changed, there's no way we would have gotten those done. So the one thing we did is we decided that we were going to take time every morning to read from a book or a devotional and pray together. Even if we didn't feel like being around each other at that time, that was a choice that we made, and that was the first step to get us to go from having numbers 1 and 2 on this to now we're at 4s and 5s.
Yeah, no, it was a huge deal.
Yeah, so thanks again for joining us in this episode of What Now?